recording started. Right, yeah, recording has started. So, I'm back with another video. As you can see, Harry is back as well. This time we're going to talk about the released and retained list for Milton Keynes Dons. The Dons decided to exercise new contracts for Liam Kelly, and they've also given contracts to Alex Gilbert and Craig McGillivray, which both have signed. However, on the flip side, first team players Tom Finch, Scott Hogan, Jonathan Lecco, Connor Lemonhay-Evans, Lawrence Maguire, Aaron Lemaine, Luke Offord, Sam Shearing and Joe Tomlinson are leaving the club, and the club are currently, as it stands, in discussions with Conrad Truman. So, what we're going to do here today is we're going to have a chat about this, we're going to give our thoughts, and we're going to be having a bit of a discussion as to where Dons will look to strengthen for next season. Thanks again for joining us, and as always, up the Dons. Right, let's get into it. So I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to have a look at this.
It's a long list, so it's a lot to take in.
Yeah, I mean, I've only mentioned first team players. I haven't even mentioned the academy.
Yeah.
But yeah, can you see that okay?
Yeah, that's good, yeah.
And one thing I forgot to mention was that loanees of John Mellish and Charlie Setford are returning back to their parent clubs. So, let's start from the top. How do we feel about new contracts given for Alex Gilbey, Craig McGillivray and Liam Kelly?
Yeah, Alex Gilbey's gonna a good leader this season. He's chipped in with a few goals and an assist himself. He's played more or less all the minutes possible. Obviously, he did get injured around the new year, missed about 2 or 3 games, I think. So, in terms of fitness, pretty good. I think Craig McGillivray missed the Barnet game, and I want to say one other, and then
he missed Colchester United game, didn't he? The FA Cup.
Yeah, but I don't think he would have played that anyway, because Truman was very much the goalkeeper for the cup games, and then
it was the Barnet game.
Now I think certainly the first half of the season he did very well. Less so in the second half of the season, in my opinion, although stats might be different. And then Liam Kelly, was he in the team of the year, I think?
He was, yeah.
And obviously he's played for teams like Oxford United and Reading, so he knows the higher teams very well.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think Liam Kelly, it was a no-brainer really to exercise his contract extension. You can't really be player of the season and then be let go like the club. Would never want to do that, I'm sure. But I just think he's just been a new signing for us this season. Paul's got the best out of him. We need him next season, so I'm pleased the club used some common sense. And actually, like I said, I felt all 3 of the players, because Alex Gilbey's been outstanding. He's been the best captain we could have had since Ian Lewington's retirement. So I think, is it 13 goals he scored for the club this season? That's outstanding from a midfielder. I think, in fact, that's probably the second highest by any Dons player this season, after Callum Patterson, and it's more than double what Scott Hogan scored himself for top scorer last season. He only scored 7 goals, well, I say only, but that in itself says a lot. And Craig McGillivray, I know I've been critical of the clean sheet situation. I know I'll keep mentioning it, but Craig McGillivray is one of our best ever goalkeepers. He makes vital saves every single game, and to not offer him a new contract would have been silly, in my opinion. So I'm really, really happy with that. But I wonder if we'll be looking to strengthen in those areas as well. Do you think we'll stick with those players? Do you think we'll look to strengthen or upgrade from them?
I think with the goalkeeper situation, it very much depends if Truman does sign, because I think if Truman does end up signing, then we're going McGillivray, Truman, and Setford, and then hopefully Setford will be given more of a chance for next season, because he came in January this season. I thought it'd be his second choice. I mean, he never made the bench. I don't think he ever made the bench once. So hopefully he's able to do that, and hopefully he's able to play a few more Cup games. Hopefully, we go on a longer run in the virtual trophy, so he's able to do that as well. I think the midfield is looking pretty good for next season, and then that's the only thing I would do. I think with the goalkeeping situation, obviously we've both spoken about the potential of Joe Wildsmith joining NK Dons. I think if he does, I'd quite like to see him as first choice over Craig McGilvray, just because Joe has played for teams like West Brom and Derby, and under Paul Rain as well. So he knows Paul Rain quite well. And he also played with Patterson at Sheffield Wednesday in League One, and I think a bit in the Championship as well. So he knows more players. I think with Craig, obviously he's got a wealth of League One experience with so many different teams: Walsall, Portsmouth, Shrewsbury,
Charlton, and Stevenage as well.
Yeah, I think we sort of got to do what we did this season, where we look to strengthen a league ahead of ourselves, rather than just looking at League One.
I mean, I like what you said there about strengthening a league ahead of yourself, because I think we've seen it with Port Vale, where they lost the League Two to finish second, but they couldn't hack it in League One. And actually, I do think this squad can definitely survive in League One. You know, certainly under Paul Warne as a manager. But I think if we are going to be going up further and trying to kick on, then that's what we do need to do, because we've been in the League One promotion race before. That's what we were initially used to back in the day, and that's what I certainly want to get back to sooner rather than later. I mean, you talk about Joe Wildsmith, so just for a bit of context for those not really sort of knowing the situation. Obviously, I've seen no link with us and Joe Wildsmith, but he's been released from West Bromwich Albion. He was on loan to Middlesbrough. He was their backup goalkeeper for yesterday's player final on the bench. He hadn't been playing for Middlesbrough, so I don't know if they're going to sign him permanently or not. But the reason why we kind of mentioned it was, I was just thinking, he's played with Paul Warne for Derby County, where he won the Golden Glove when they got promoted a couple of seasons ago, and maybe Paul won't get the best out of him. I actually don't think we need another goalkeeper. I've said that online. I think the Charlie Setford signing was a bit strange because, like you say, he didn't make the team 18 at all. But apparently Paul Warne, somebody was saying he's been trying to sign him for a long time at other clubs as well. So we'll have to see if he comes back. We'll have to wait and see. But it was just something I was thinking, which is why I asked you and the other people, is Joe Wildsmith somebody we should try and go for, considering what he's done in the past with Paul Warne and with Derby County? Or should we stick with Craig McGillivray or try and get somebody else as a backup? But yeah, it's an interesting one, and maybe we will try and sign him. But I do definitely hope Craig stays at number one, because I think after this season that he's had, I think he deserves it. To be honest, I think it would be really cruel to drop him as number one. And I do think we look strong, but we definitely want to get stronger to really kick on, in my opinion.
I think with Craig, didn't he say a statement last year where he feels like he's wasted sort of 2 years of his career because he was second choice? So
yeah, he did say that. Yeah,
be an interesting situation, because if Wildsmith does join and Truman is still at the club, will McGillivray see his future elsewhere potentially?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be, like I said, I think it would be cruel to drop Craig McGillivray. I think after everything we've seen from him this season, I think he deserves to be undisputed number one. I think in his first season, obviously he started off as a number one, and then for some reason, and it's probably going to bring back some painful memories to Don's fans, we replaced him with Philip Marshall and ended up having to replace Philip Marshall with Michael Kelly and played them concurrently. And I don't really think that was our wisest move. I know Philip Marshall has done well since, but I don't really think Craig did much wrong. So it was a weird one. And then obviously he had that football with Stevenage, but last season to not have Craig as number one, I think we'd have had him as number one. We'd have definitely finished a lot higher than 19th. And I'm really surprised that it took Paul Vaughan coming in to realise that. So I can understand it. And I think if we are to sign another goalkeeper, unless Connell Truman leaves and it's a backup goalkeeper, I don't really think it would make a lot of sense, personally. But like I said, a few other people disagree with me on that, so it'll be an interesting one to see. But it would be a shame for Craig to sign a new contract and go back to being backup, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I think, it depends if we sign Setford as well.
We'll have to wait and see. I would find the goalkeeper situation a bit strange, really, because I remember thinking in January, and I was saying, don't really see why we're trying to sign another goalkeeper, but at least we didn't mess about with it this time, because do you think that cost us promotion 2 years ago? Because we were knocking on the door of the top, but we couldn't get past. And you look at the saves Craig has made this season. Not every goalkeeper can make those saves, certainly, without trying to, bash him at all. I know he's done well since, but I don't think the Philip Marshall that we had, he clearly wasn't able to do as well as Craig has done this season, or even in that season. And just wondering if that did cost us as well, thinking back to it.
Yeah, as well as Philip Marshall, I think we had Tom McGill on loan from Brighton.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
last season. Him and Connell Truman were the main number ones, weren't they?
yeah, and they didn't really seem to do as well as Craig has done this season. But it's always interesting being a goalkeeper, because you look at someone like Aaron Nemain, for example. He'd be happy to play either wing or potentially in the attack or in the midfield. Same to be said with Lemon High Evans. To be honest, either of those two could literally play anywhere, and there's less competition, I think. Whereas with the goalkeeper spot, you can only have one on the pitch, and so there's always going to be so many more people battling for the same position.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was always a strange one, like I say. I mean, why we kind of went down the route we did, I don't really know, but it was obviously what the managers must have felt. But I mean, I do like what you say about people like Aaron Nemain, Gordon and Hay Evans. I remember last season thinking they're two of our better players, and now we've ended up having to let them go. So that probably says a lot of how far we've come. Another point I wanted to make about Big Craig is that last season he finished with 4 consecutive clean sheets, and it was extended to 7 in the first 3 games of this season. 7 consecutive clean sheets. That's a record for the Dons since being renamed. So kind of goes to say a lot as well. But yeah, you know what, guys? Just a little thought. Obviously, I know when this has gone out, some of you guys will be watching this. Let me know in the comments, would you sign another goalkeeper? And do you think that goalkeeper that we do sign should be backup, or if this place Craig is number 1? Do you agree with what we've said about Joe Wildsmith? Do you think he should come in? Do you think of somebody else who we've not actually talked about? Or are you happy with Craig and think he should just be undisputed? Please let us know your thoughts in the comments.
I think goalkeepers as well tend to stay at the club sort of the longest out of any player. So certainly,
yeah, it's probably one of our.
Certainly back in the day, and I think David Martin actually stayed at the club for a long time.
Yeah, he was there for 7 seasons in a row after being initially a trainee with the club. And then he came back again, didn't he?
Yeah.
As a backup. Yeah, I was thinking about that today. David Martin's probably going to be our best goalkeeper that we've had. But saying that, Willie Gray, Craig McLeaver, I don't think they're too far behind. I certainly think Craig is better than Jamie Cumming, and that's saying something. And yeah, Craig and Lee Nichols, they're probably on par with each other. All right, let's move forward then. So go back to my screen. So we've talked about Charlie Setford already, so I won't get ourselves to repeat each other, if that makes sense. But John Mellish, we've got to talk about John Mellish. He's returning to Wigan Athletic. Has he done enough to convince you that we should sign him permanently?
It's an interesting one. I think I kept looking at the League One situation and thinking, oh, Wigan might go down, and if MK go up, which we did, I thought he would definitely sign because he'd want to play League One football. But because Wigan stayed up and he played the first 2 games before joining us, I think he might stay at Wigan personally.
Do you think he's done enough to kind of earn a spot in the Wigan first team then, based on his performances here?
Yeah, I'd say so, but obviously every team is competitive, and if we don't end up signing him, I think we definitely need 2 very good sort of left wing backs or left backs, depending on what system we use next season, to come into the team, because at the moment Dean Lewington's probably the best in that position.
Yeah. Well, you never know. He loved the club so much, he'll probably come out and do a job if he needs to. I know he's 42 years old, but would you put it past him?
I think come July 1st, he'll be the best left back at the club. So, and that's including sort of youth players and pretty much everyone. Because even the youth left backs, they all got released. But obviously, we don't have a left back at the moment. So I think there has been talk to sign Callum Elder because he's played under Paul Rain before, although a couple of names that I'd quite like to see is Joe Bryan and Brandon Williams.
Yeah, I remember you were saying this before. I mean, that would be statement, wouldn't it? That would be a really statement set of signings. I think. I mean, because I think Callum Elder could be up for it. And the reason I'm saying that is because we've obviously signed Curtis Nelson, Kane Wilson from Derby County. And I remember Derby fans, they weren't too happy about that, especially with Kane Wilson. And I just feel like, if we could get something like that sorted, then that would be... Because they've played in League One before, haven't they? I mean, I'm sure... Am I right in saying Callum Elder's played for Wigan before in League One? I'm going to Google this because I'm sure I saw. I've collected all the programs, and I remember I used to collect the away programs. Sure, Callum Elder used to play for Wigan.
I know Jack Sanders definitely did, but I'm not sure about Callum Elder playing for Wigan.
Thinking because I know Wigan they stormed the League One title. Was he part of? Yeah, he was part of the Wigan side that won the league in 2018. They amassed 98 points that season. He got 27 appearances for that season. Then he joined Ipswich Town on loan. Yeah, if Callum Elder was to join, I think that would be a good signing because he could probably fill up the one of the vacancies at left back, as you say, one of the defence vacancies. I mean, I do, like I said, I'll put it on record. I do feel like Marvin Ekpateta, what's his name, Callum, Curtis Nelson, and Jack Sanders. I was about to say Callum Sanders. Then I was thinking, I had an absolute brain fart. They have put their bodies on the line for Dons. They, like I said before, you could throw a brick, obviously metaphorically, throw a brick at them, and they'll still head it away for Dons. But if someone who's been there before and won the league before, he could bring that experience to the team. I think it'll be a statement signing. Joe Bryan, obviously, he's been at the Championship, Fulham, Millwall. We've seen what we can achieve with ex-Championship players before, with Callum Patterson and Nathaniel Mendes-Langsack being other statements. Brandon Williams, that's an interesting one because he's the guy that you was at Manchester United, wasn't he? And then
he was at Manchester United. He made a couple bench appearances and played in the cups for him. He was meant to be like a bright prospect, and then he went out on loan to Norwich when they were in the Premier League. So he played a full season in the Prem, and then I think the season after he went out on loan to Ipswich Town, which was their first promotion. They got back-to-back promotions, and then then I can't remember how long he was back at United for, but then He went on loan to Hull, only made one appearance. That was last season, and yeah, for the whole of this season, he's been a free agent. So I think that's why he would definitely consider a move to League One, because he has been out of the game for a year now. And I think because of obviously his Championship experience, it'd be quite a great addition, really.
Yeah, I think so. But then at the same time, talent only gets you so far, I think. Because if you think about it, have we been here before with what's his name? I'm trying to think. I mean, obviously, we're not trying to, like I said before, we're not trying to bash them. We have signed players who have done well in the other divisions, but it hasn't always fully worked out for them.
Yeah.
But I know Jonathan Lecco, he had quite a good start with us. I remember the performance against Wrexham. He scored a couple of good goals, had some assists. Was actually one of our star players, star shiners under Graham Alexander. But at the same time, it hasn't really sort of worked out since. I know he had a horror injury, but he's just not a first team player at the moment for Dons. And I think you could say something similar about Scott Hogan, who had an all right season last season, but again, seems to have fallen off a little bit. Trying to think who else I could mention here. I don't know if I've obviously Nigel Rio-Coker in the past, ex-Wimbledon. But it's just, the players have got to be ready for it as well, if that makes sense. You've had a break, but are you going to be able to succeed, or has it gone past you? Have you got the right mindset? Is there a way to get the best out of you, or is something else going to get in the way? So, I mean, it's just, I guess there's two sides to the coin, if that makes sense. But if we can find the right side, then it benefits everyone. So I think if we were to sign somebody like Brandon Williams, I'd probably give it as maybe like a 1-season contract maximum, and then with an option to extend, maybe.
Yeah, depending on league status.
Yeah, just depends really. Depends if they're up for it as well.
But I think 100%, if we need a new position, it's left back out of any position.
Yeah, maybe Callum Elder could be a good signing. I mean, if you think about it, he made some good made a lot of championship appearances as well. I mean, 28 this season, 29 last season. Maybe it could work, but then at the same time, he hasn't made 30 or more appearances since 2019-2020 season for the Hull City when they got relegated to League One. I know they got promoted now to the Premier League, but sorry, if I can read properly, the last time he made 30 or more appearances was in the 2020-2021 season. So I'm having a look and can't seem to read properly. That was when Hull got promoted to back to the Championship. The season before, and he made 30 appearances. But actually, if you look at his appearance statistics in other seasons around that, he's only made 4 for Ipswich Town in 2018-2019. And since Hull got promoted back up to the Championship, he's made 28, 29, and then for Derby, he's made 22 in League One, 29 and 28 appearances since really in the League One Championship. So there's obviously an underlying factor there. Maybe it's to do with injury. If he can get the Callum Elder that we had, that the whole City had when they got promoted, then maybe that could be a good signing for us. But now, as I think about it, we need to sign somebody else for backup.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I think we certainly need two players in that position. I think. So yeah, that's the thing with the 2 lone players leaving, and then we've got quite a lot of contracted players who will be leaving at the end of the season. So should we get into that? Because I think that could be quite a lot to take in with all those players. I think it's probably the most we've ever had, to be honest.
Yeah, I think. Well, I think you know what. I want to talk about the release players first, but then let's definitely talk about it, because I think like I say, it's a lot of players. Will we all stay? Will some leave? Will we try and add to that? So it's a good point. But let's talk about uh let's talk about the rest of the release players, because I do think most of these are probably for the best of everyone.
Yeah,
Look here, Tom Finch, who is the goalkeeper, I believe the goalkeeper. I think that's probably best for both parties because he's not getting any game time at Dons. He needs to play, and we need to probably free up the funds. So I think that's probably best for everyone.
I was
Scott Hogan,
really,
Jonathan, yeah,
yeah, I was really excited when he came in because obviously he'd been in the academy at Norwich City, which are sort of a Premier League Championship sort of side. So I thought, to come and be our what was originally third choice keeper, I thought was a really good move for him. He made a couple bench appearances when Truman was injured, but I think that was only about 2 or 3 max. And yeah, I think he'd need to sort of drop to National League South or North if he did want to be a number one.
probably right now. I think that's what I think. I think him leaving is probably best for him as well. And I think, like I say, he's not the only one here because I mean the next two players I want to talk about are Scott Hogan and Jonathan Lecco. Now I know Scott Hogan was a top scorer last season, so it makes sense that he was obviously not going to be sold this season. But it hasn't really worked out for him this season. He's been limited, certainly with the arrival of Callum Patterson and Nathaniel Mendes-Lang and Aaron Collins. He's been limited to a lot of substitute appearances. Yeah, Brosnan and Murphy as well. I mean, even when Callum Patterson was injured and Nathaniel Mendes-Lang was injured, um, even then he wasn't really starting. It was Danny Crowley's turn to start, and then Scott Hogan was coming off the bench. And I think he did okay. I liked his effort, but it wasn't really happening for him. And I think at 34 years old, it's probably best for Dons that he leaves, but I think it's best for him to try and get some more game time before he retires. Because he's probably got a couple of years left in him. He doesn't want to be sat on the bench for Dons, does he?
Yeah,
and those could do with the funds.
The reserve sometimes with Jonathan Lecco and Lawrence Maguire, and I think if he does want to continue playing, because obviously what we saw last season, it does show he can perform at sort of a good level. But I think for that to happen, he'd have to drop down to National League. I think that would be his sort of level now. Because obviously, like we said, we've got so many more attackers in this season. And we only got rid of sort of one first-team attacker last year in Callum Hendry.
Yeah. You know what? That just brings last season vibe. You know when you've forgotten about some of those players?
Yeah.
Just goes to show sort of what's happened next. Obviously, wish Callum Hendry all the best. Yeah, I mean, you say National League, I think maybe a lower League Two team because we finished 19th and he scored 7 goals. Maybe he could score a few more in a League Two team and get some other game time in for his, non-goal scoring play. But
maybe
it just hasn't happened this season. Yeah, maybe. You thought maybe into Newport County could work if he's up for it because maybe they could probably use a striker given how much they struggled this season. Gave us a good game though that day. If I remember that, there was a goalkeeper mistake, and he was excellent.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was only a relief not to have drawn or lost really. Even Callum Patterson's penalty, you could probably see it wasn't going to go in. I think even he got injured after that. I probably wish he didn't have that. We didn't get awarded the penalty. But yeah, and then obviously the next player on the list is Jonathan Lecco. It's best for him. It's best for us. I know there's a player there. We saw it under Graham Alexander, as I was saying earlier. I know he got off to an okay start when he joined us and League One. I know he scored against Sheffield Wednesday after a couple of minutes, but I don't know. I always feel like with Jonathan Lecco, there was a player there that we did see from time to time, but it was about getting it out of him. It was the best way to try and do that. Graham Alexander was able to do that for a bit. And then obviously he got sacked because we just couldn't seem to buy a win. But it hasn't really happened since. I remember Toby Luck was saying once, I remember when we back when we could actually beat Crawley Town 2-0. I remember watching that on through the iFollow commentary due to a commitment which I had after the game. And so we looked at something really interesting. He said, when Jonathan Lecker or somebody said, you get the feeling he really wants this to work, but it basically isn't really working.
Yeah.
Is that what was going on?
Yeah, but obviously he came through the West Brom Academy, and you've got a soft spot for West Brom because
Of family reasons, yeah.
Yeah, your family support them, for example. And yeah, from that perspective, what did you think of Jonathan Lecker when he was at West Brom? Because personally, from the outside looking in, it was like he was going to be a very good player one day, but yeah, it's not really worked out for him.
To be honest, right, at the time when he was kind of coming, I wasn't really watching all the games. You know, I know I can say sometimes with the family, with my dad, we do watch West Brom if Dons aren't playing at the same time. Obviously, Dons comes first in terms of who to watch because my hometown team has to weigh a bit more for me now. But I don't really watch all of it, if that makes sense. So I can't really comment on his performances, but I do know he was a highly rated youngster. I do know that. I remember when he was coming up, he did make a few Premier League appearances off the bench, and sometimes the fans do talk as what might have been with him, but at the same time, you've got to cut your losses. And I know in that season we got hosted with the COVID pandemic, I know he scored a few goals. I know with Charlton Athletic. That's kind of outside of MK Dons and West Bromwich Albion. I think that's as good as it really got, because I know it didn't really work out for him at Birmingham City. I know they weren't really speaking too highly of him.
I think an interesting fact about his time at Birmingham City is he was in the team with Kane Thompson-Summers, Dan Crawley, Scott Hogan, and Conal Truman. So there's about 5 of them all there at the same time.
Well, Birmingham City we're missing, we seem to get then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting one, but like I say, I do wish him the best. I think Havana said maybe he didn't trust his Achilles, or was it his Achilles or his knees where he got that horrible injury. I remember last season when he came back, he just sort of needed a goal because you could tell he was going for it. But
yeah,
I think too much has happened now that it's probably best for him that he finds another club and has a fresh start. And I again wish him all the best.
He had a long injury because I think because he was almost too good for MK Dons at the time. Him and Craig McGilvray went out on loan, and he went out on loan to Burton Albion, I do believe, and he only made 1 appearance. I don't even think it was a full appearance.
If I remember correctly, he came off the bench in the second half, and then 5 minutes later he had a horrible injury. And to be honest, you've got to feel bad for him because you can't wish that on anyone.
Yeah.
You make an interesting point though, about being too good for MK Dons if they got it on loan. I mean, it would be really interesting. I think with Jonathan Lecker, it was probably a mutual decision at the time. Maybe not, but I wonder what happened with Craig McGillivray. I wonder what happened between him and Mike Williamson for that to happen. It was him, Jonathan Lecker, and Mohamed Issa, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think he went out on loan as well.
Yeah, to Exeter City. And to be honest, I would have played Mohamed Issa more. Certainly when Max Dean got injured, we would have had a good player there. I think he was doing well beforehand, and then Mike Williamson seemed to drop him. And it would have been nice to have kept certainly Mohamed Issa, probably Craig McGillivray as well. Well, no, definitely Craig McGillivray. I think maybe we could have got promoted, but old news now, thank the Lord.
But I think I did a video on my channel in January saying, I think because of the signings we got, I think Lecker would be best to move away out on loan, but he stayed at the club, and obviously originally he wasn't even named in the squad until it was needed.
Right, yeah. I think his last start was it obviously back in the league, was that against Tranmere Rovers when he got sent off? I've got it here. I've got it here.
Away he got sent off.
No, it wasn't Barnet away, it was Tranmere Rovers away.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think he started any other games then in the league.
All right, because I did have a memory of him starting the 8th of November against Barnet.
Yeah, that was before Tranmere Rovers. Tranmere Rovers was the was 22nd of November.
Yeah.
Funny enough, both games were 2-0 down and we ended up drawing 2-2.
Yeah.
With the Barnet one here. No, he was on the bench at Barnet.
Oh, really?
Says here. You might by the 8th of November, though.
Because I think we did have a little injury crisis around that time. So.
Yeah. And I know, am I right in saying, I mean, I wasn't able to watch Oxford United's game due to a tragedy which took place for some family to be. But I think he missed a penalty, didn't he? And I remember then he was getting a bit slated by the fans afterwards, and just not nice to see, is it?
No.
Must have been a horrible feeling to have been one of the two players that missed a penalty after everything you've gone through with the club, and must have been like another punch in the face from more salt into the wound. Wasn't it? But yeah, hopefully, yeah, does well. I mean, maybe he's meant to go to Bradford City and do well there. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm just saying that because of a big Graham Alexander. Now, next players I want to talk about. I'll just talk about Connor Lemonheigh Evans and Aaron Lemonheigh. I want to kind of do these two together. I know I'm not going fully in order here, but I think these two players are quite similar in terms of where they can play, their appearances. Certainly last season they did. I think they can order their heads up high from last season. And I think they've done okay this season, certainly Aaron Lemonheigh. I think I was a bit gutted for him. But I think I can understand it as well. I could probably see it happening in that sense. But I think he'd make a really good League Two player. And I think same for big Connor Lemonheigh Evans as well. He's been limited to off the bench appearances. But I always thought there was a player there.
Well, we've both played at a higher level. Nemain came through the academy at Manchester City. And then Lemonheigh Evans played for Bristol City. Both for almost about 10 years ago now, but still they did play for those teams. I think this season they've been very much rotational players who can play in multiple positions.
I mean, yeah, like I said, last season I think they did well. Aaron Lemonheigh, I think out of the two players, certainly had more game time. I know he'd always have that goal against Swindon Town. I always liked his effort, to be fair. I think out of the two, if I had to think about it, there's probably a part of me that probably wouldn't have seen Aaron Lemonheigh leaving.
Yeah.
Other part of me says maybe it makes sense.
I think out of all the players, I think most fans were most surprised by Nemain, I think.
Yeah, I think I would as well, to be fair. He didn't always get the full 90 minutes, did he?
No, he played at Notts County not the season just finished, but the season before with Crowley. They were both at Notts County, and I think both of them joined in January.
What, in January of last season?
Yeah, so not season just finished, but the season before they were both at Notts County, and then they joined.
Yeah, Aaron Lemonheigh was a summer signing. He was swapped for Connor Grant. Danny Crowley was January, and to be honest, I do feel for him as we go into League One now. Got to think about it realistically. For his own sake, is he better off going to a League Two team? Do you think? Because I don't think it's worked out for him joining MK Dons. He was highly rated at Notts County. It was a statement signing at the time, but he only scored one goal, and that was funnily enough, that was in the 5-1 victory. But that's as good as it got, really.
Yeah, well, he's played at a higher level. He's played in the Championship, but he's probably got loads of appearances in the Championship. But
Look.
Yeah, Hull and Birmingham, and then he played in Netherlands for a bit as well.
Right, let's have a look. Danny Crowley, let's have a look at his appearances. So, Arsenal Academy. First time learned at Barnsley, Oxford United. Yep. Been near the Vise. For Gold Eagles and William II, I think it is. Played for SG Cambuur. I think, yeah, I mean, it's interesting actually, because having a look at it now, in 6 seasons ago, 2019, 2020, we had 38 appearances for Birmingham City in the Championship. Then went to Hull City after making only 3 appearances the following season, and helped them went up to the Championship. But at the end of that season, or certainly in the following season, then it's Cheltenham Town goes back to the Eredivisie and then the Netherlands Second Division. Played to Morecambe, and then here we go, right? Scored 15 goals 2 seasons ago for Notts County, and he scored 4 and 18 appearances before joining the Dons midway last season. I always remember him being such a highly rated player, but I don't think we've managed to see that at MK Dons, have we?
No, I think certainly to start with, at the start of last season, he was a reserve on multiple occasions, but
And
then
this
he
season,
sort of got sort of a rotational role. I think he's a nice character. Having met him before, I actually saw him at Burger King once, out of all places, and
nice.
he
Did
seemed
he pay for you?
a good person, but it was actually the Burger King outside of the stadium, probably about 45 minutes after the game finished.
Which game was it?
Can't remember which game. I'd want to say it's around October time. It definitely not the Crew game, but a different game.
Gillingham?
Could have been that game. I don't. He wasn't on the pitch when the game finished, I don't think. But
Let's have a look.
But I want to say around October time, although all months go into one. So
Yeah, it's one season, isn't it? Yeah, is what it is. But yeah, I think just as I've kind of gone off a tangent to Danny Crowley,
yeah.
I think. I mean, obviously he had his spell in the team when other players got injured, and he did okay. But I think as we sort of move forward, I think I'm gonna keep saying it. Best for both parties. I think he might need to find another club, because if we're not going to be playing much in League Two, I can't see us playing too much in League One.
Yeah, and I think obviously Jay Mateti's been injured, so he will get him a team over him as well.
You know, so he's 28 years old and nearly 29. That's done okay, but it's sort of interesting actually. Gone from the Championship, being a regular appearance maker in the Championship to League Two.
Yeah, I think that's also part of the reason why we got rid of Lemon High Evans, to be honest, because both of them seem to be very similar players as well.
I think for Conor Lemon Hay Evans, like we say, he wasn't getting the game time this season. I don't think it was working out for him as it was last season. To be honest, right, it's going to sound controversial, but I think remember when he got sent off against AFC Wimbledon in the cup?
I think he played for AFC Wimbledon as well.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
He played for Stockport with Real Colour as well, so he's played at a higher level. But yeah.
Funny enough, yeah, I think he was on loan to AFC Wimbledon, then he went back to Stockport County, and then we signed him. I mean, he made 34 appearances last season. I think the reason I bring this sending off is that after that, he wasn't as much of a first-team starter.
Yeah.
He got 25 appearances this season, most of them off the bench. So, like I say, he'll make a good League Two player, but I think it's probably best for him that we let him go.
Yeah.
Right, let's go back into it then. Who was next? So, let's talk about. I'm going to do this in twos now. Let's talk about Sam Sherring and Lawrence Maguire. Let's talk about them two.
Do you remember the game? It was around Christmas 2024, I want to say. Lawrence Maguire played against MK Dons. He got sent off.
Was that for Crawley Town?
I think so, yeah, Crawley.
I was watching most of that game when I followed. Like I say, that's the same game as when the commentator said what he said about Jonathan Lecco.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if I remember the sending off, because basically I had a commitment after the game as a praying commitment, and it wasn't really sort of practical for me to go to the game and then try and go straight to the corridor in time. So I said I'm going to watch it, on using the TV, so I can still watch it. And I watched most of it. I think I remember the sending off. I don't remember the challenge, to be honest, but I remember he was sort of quite popular with the fans, and now he's not even it wasn't even registered after January, was he?
No, I think that's because we got Nelson in.
Hmm. And in all fairness, Curtis Nelson has been a good signing for us.
Yeah, I think with Maguire, it was unfortunate he got injured. I can't remember which game, but it was the same game Mendes-Len got injured, if that helps.
Notts County away.
Yeah, both of them got injured, and I was hoping Maguire would return, but he didn't in the end. So I think he good in the
really.
community. I think he did some work in the community trust, and he's very much been a League Two player. He was at Chesterfield when they dropped into non-league. He went on loan to Crawley and then one other team. I can't remember which team. He'll probably end up joining a League Two team. Obviously, his brother's
back at Crawley Town.
Yeah, his brother's Harry Maguire, who's a very good player, Premier League player, and I feel like because his brother's at that high level, he should be at a higher level as well. But obviously, it doesn't always work out like that.
Yeah, spent a long time at Chesterfield from League One up to down to the National League, not up to the National League. But yeah, it was.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, it's a bit of a sad one.
About 2020, that Chesterfield were in League One.
No, they got relegated in 2017.
Oh, right,
they did a double relegation.
Yeah.
The tough times, I think. And they had ownership problems. I mean, they were joining with Southend United when they were trying against their owner, saying we've been through it too. But yeah, I think Lawrence Maguire make a good League Two player, but I always thought it was a strange decision not to register him because Curtis Nelson had a few games where he wasn't available. And I actually liked Lawrence Maguire. I thought he was an alright player. I think he could have come in as a good backup.
I think it was just because it was too big of a squad, because we got Setford in, we got Riles, Mattet, and Nelson in it, and the only players who went were Thompson, Summers, and I think that was it actually.
Was it?
I think the only player who left in January was Thompson, Summers, and we got 4 players in.
I'll probably check that, but I won't have much of a look now because I think I've gone on a bit of a tangent. Yeah, I do remember Kane Thompson Summers leaving. I wonder how Bristol Rovers fans think of him. He went there, wasn't it? But
back in the MK Dons team next year. Sam Shearing, I think he will join Cheltenham. I think obviously we got a few centre backs in this season, like we've talked about, and obviously Tucker left, Jack Tucker, and he went out on loan, and I think Cheltenham fans quite like him, to be honest.
You know what? If Cheltenham, excuse me, I think if Cheltenham Town fans like him, then fair play. I'm pleased for him because if you're not really going to get the game time at us, get a game time at another team. Make yourself a good rated player and win over the fans, and he's probably done that. So, for his own sake, I hope he joins Cheltenham Town permanently. I think he's done well, made the best out of a bad situation, and I think it makes all sense for him to go. But now I'm going to talk about the last 2 players on this list, and probably some people 2 of the more surprising players. Now I've talked about Aaron Lemaine. Now that was a bit surprising. Joe Tomlinson, Luke Offord, our vice captain, and Luke Offord, who I thought was quite a first team regular before he got sent off. I didn't see that one coming. Joe Tomlinson, maybe you could feel he should have played more games with John Menace's struggles with the crossing.
Yep. Who's our vice captain?
Joe Tomlinson was.
All right, yeah, because I think online when Gilby was injured, it was saying Patterson was captain.
Well, to be
But
honest, Callum Patterson was getting the game time.
yeah, I suppose that's the case because Tomlinson didn't always play.
Yeah.
I think I pretty much covered what I wanted to say with Joe Tomlinson, to be honest, in my mind.
Mm.
Because obviously John Mellish is leaving as well, and they're the same position. I think, yeah, Tomlinson, he started the season, but then he got injured, and then he came back, and then he got injured again, and then he came back, but he's very much a rotational player. And I remember the game against Barnet, him and Mellish were both playing together. I can't remember what centre back it was, but we only had one centre back. I mean, I think the main was right back. So it wasn't the best defence.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't watch the game, but I think, am I right in saying Barnet had some disallowed goals, a penalty appealed? I was ready to get a point from that game. I remember saying I'll take that. Sometimes you have to settle for a point as opposed to a loss, and that's what we did. And to be fair to the Dons, that's what we had to do a lot in the first half of the season. It was good to see us not losing, but at the same time, it started to see us kick on from that as well, where we didn't have to just settle for points. I think with Joe Tomlinson, I know that Mike Williamson, he was actually quite a regular. I quite liked him. I think he was playing well. But this season, John Mellis has taken his place. Now, whether we agree with that or disagree with that is a whole conversation in its own. It can probably feel a bit agreed because I know John Mellis has struggled with his crossings, which is why I wanted to hear your view. And again, guys, in the comments, let us know what do you think. Should we sign John Mellis permanently? Should we have released Joe Tomlinson? I know some of you said you were surprised with that, and let us know what you think of the other released and retained players as well. I think Joe Tomlinson could feel aggrieved with a lack of playing time, but if he's not going to get played, even though he's done a lot of work in the community, I know he won the award for I think Community Ambassador or Community Person of the Year, if you like. Um,
Did he play
I
in League
just
One? Peterborough, I think.
I'll have a look actually. I'll have a look. I'm not too sure of that. But Joe Tomlinson, I think he's going to make a really good League Two player. I think maybe somebody like Chesterfield could benefit from him. Chesterfield or Grimsby Town. Um, he's definitely got a good game in him in League Two. But he just wasn't really getting it with us, and I feel like I'm just saying that about all the players, really, or most
Yeah.
of them.
It's strange because most of them have had lots of appearances at a higher level.
Yeah, so he made 5 championship appearances for Peterborough United, and then
Only
he made
5.
4. Yeah, that's what I'm saying here on the Wikipedia. Um, then in the next 2 seasons, he made 2 appearances each season. First time alone with the Swindon Town in the 2021-2022 season, made 10 League Two appearances, scoring a goal, and then the following season again 7 appearances this time, but back at Swindon Town scoring a goal, and then you know what, he had like I said, he had a good first season with us. He scored 7 goals and 36 appearances, and I think for someone of Joe Tomlinson's position, I think that's pretty respectable. And it was 4 and 40 last season. Again, he was clearly a first team regular, but for only 22 appearances this season, he clearly wasn't getting the game time much in the second half of the season until John Mellish got sent off. And yeah, it's not happened, really. It's not happened this season. I mean, he's going to make a great League Two player, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it in League One for us next season. But nearly 26 years old, he's got a good future ahead of him, I think. Hopefully he can kick on in League Two and hopefully then go into the high levels.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I like him as a player, as a person, but he clearly wasn't a first team regular, so it makes sense, I think.
Yeah, I think with the squad we had this season, I quite enjoyed the squad we had, but yeah, it's just a shame so many had to leave. And then there was another player who got released in January. Actually, what was his name? Was it Thompson? There was a player called
Nathan Thompson, that's it. Yes, that was a mutual consent one, wasn't it? I liked him, but he had injuries, so I think it's a bit of a surprising one because I did say he's very highly thought of, but if it's not working out, it's not working out.
Yeah.
Like I say, we'll wish him the best. And the last player on this list, I've saved him for last. Probably the most surprising out of the 9 that I've got here. Luke Offord.
Yeah.
He got needlessly sent off against Salford City. Like I said earlier in the talk, I don't think it was a red card, but what's he doing? Just kicking the ball at him. It just wasn't needed.
Yeah, I think he got sent off in a home match as well.
Who was that?
I'm pretty sure Mellish and Offord both got suspended
off before. Guys, if you're listening to this, let us know in the comments if I can't find this. I'm gonna Google it. I'm gonna put Sean Mellish red card.
Yeah. Luke Offord and John Mellish, they both got suspended twice. Yeah. I want to say one of them was against Crewe at home, I think, but I might be wrong.
Let's have a look. It says here a red card and only his second outing for MK Dons. So who was that against? Then that must have been
Cheltenham.
Is it Cheltenham? I don't remember it being. Grimsby Town. That's it. I wasn't able to attend that game, so that's why I don't remember it. I was at work that day. I was at work, so I wasn't able to attend the game.
Yeah. No, I think because with Luke Offord, because obviously we've got Ekapita, Sanders, and Nelson, two out of the 3 being new signings. The other one being Sanders, who got in the team of the year for League Two. I think it was always going to be a challenge for Offord to get irregular game time, and I think for that to happen, a few appearances, he did actually have to play midfield.
But the thing is, right, he was doing that up until his red card. So I mean, I'm just looking at the statistics again. I mean, in two seasons, 42 and 41 appearances, and it was 3 goals each season. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like we just reached a regular here. I was really, really surprised at that. I would have thought we'd have given him a new contract. Or offered him a new contract at least. Yeah, I thought we would have offered Luke Offord a new contract. Sorry, I try to be funny sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was just going to be hard for him to get into the team and play sort of every minute of every game. So for him to be able to do that, he'll probably have to stay at a League Two team.
I was surprised, but I think, like Joe Tomlinson, I think he could join a good League Two team. And we've seen Grimsby Town, Chesterfield, Barnet, Swindon Town, even Crewe Alexandra might take him back. I mean, I think just a few teams there, I think will, who don't have released, those teams you'll be looking at, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll do a good job for those teams, I think.
Yeah. So,
in my humble opinion.
So there's no really, obviously, there's a lot of players we've spoken about who got released, but none who are sort of, massive, great players who would play every minute of every game.
I mean, last year we just talked about Conor Truman. Obviously, we're in discussions with him. Would you give him a new contract? Do you think he'll sign? Do you think he'll want regular first team football? Or do you think we should sign another backup?
I think he probably won.
Yeah.
First team football, because obviously he played at Birmingham City and he played at Millwall, which are both championship teams.
Yeah, let's have a look. Conor Truman. Because when he signed, Scotland had him as number 1, didn't he?
Yeah, I think it was number 1 when we finished 19th. Yeah.
Well, he was initially number 1. I remember as Liverpool 1 came in. Obviously, he was initially number 1. I remember as penalty save in his debut against Bromley. I remember being really impressed with that. It was like, this is good, and he was rated highly in that sense. But yeah, like I said initially, I just don't understand why it took it to Paul Warncombe to realise Craig McGillivray was the right man to play. He made 13 appearances last season for Dons as number one. 2 appearances this season. Obviously, one was against Bromley when Craig McGillivray had a concussion. And this is I'm only talking about league appearances here.
So he played against Bromley as well. So he'd have played against Barnet and Bromley, yeah.
Yeah. When Craig got concussed, he had to be subbed on, and then that's when Bromley scored. This is a really interesting one. Right? I'm having a look at the statistics here. Obviously, Scott Lindsay joined MK Dons from Crawley Town in October of last season. So he didn't have that many games in League One before he went back to Crawley Town as manager. But get this right. He makes 4 appearances for Crawley Town in League One. That's with Scott Lindsay at the helm. I know he played for Crawley Town. Obviously, that's why Scott Lindsay signed him. But Scott Lindsay must have been so impressed with him they wanted him to be number 1 at Dons, and that's why maybe Tom McGill went away back to Brighton and over Albion. Before 2024-2025, doesn't play a game since 2021 to 2022 season. He's played twice with Oxford United and once with Birmingham City. I mean, the most he's ever done in the league season is the lockdown season, 2020-2021, on loan with AFC Wimbledon, when he's got 19 appearances. So it's a really strange one, really. He's clearly a backup goalkeeper in terms of his career. I mean, he's 30 years old, and in 11-12 seasons, he's made 64 appearances.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one, and yet he was initially number 1. I wonder what that must feel like. But he must be enjoying it to be in discussion with Dons, because I don't want to see it in a disrespectful way. I'm saying it because of what we've seen from Craig this season. I can't see him being number 1. Can you? No, I don't think there's any way.
He was given his chance, but he didn't really take it.
It's an interesting one, but I wonder if he'll sign again, guys. I'll keep saying it. Get your thoughts down in the comments. Do you want Conor Schumann to sign a new contract? Do you think he's a good enough backup, or would you sign somebody else? And as I said earlier, let us know your thoughts on who you want to be number 1 as well. I've thrown another name into the hat with Joe Wildsmith, and he's not even been linked with us.
Yeah.
Would you sign it if you're Conor Schumann?
It depends if it's a first team role or not. Although I think he'll be offered second choice, so probably not, because obviously 30. If he's been second choice for so long, he'd probably want to go somewhere where he can start and play out his final sort of 5 years.
Yeah, well, I need to get as a goalkeeper. I mean, I know I said 64 appearances. Obviously, there's obviously more to that in the cup as well. And it's just hasn't really been the first choice. But saying that, personally, I'm going to give my views now, because obviously I keep asking for your views. If I, as an MK Dons fan, I wouldn't mind Conor Schumann signing that contract. Those appearances for AFC Wimbledon, even though they're in a relegation battle, they still survived it in League One. And I know a lot of people may think about back-to-back promotion challenges. That's only an idea for the future to talk about. But they did survive. He's been in the Championship. I think don't probably know what we're going to get from him in that sense, given that he's been with us since 2025. I think it would be good for him to sign, personally.
Yeah.
But then saying that, I can understand if he doesn't. And if he doesn't, just think of who would want to sign.
Yeah, I think it depends if someone like Ryle Smith comes in or Setford,
Yeah.
if he does end up signing.
Yeah. I mean, you clearly preferred Conor Truman to Charlie Setford because Conor Truman's been the backup goalkeeper on the bench. Charlie Setford hasn't. But somebody said to me he tried to sign Charlie Setford for other clubs as well.
Don't be
So,
wrong, I think, yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's new information to me, but Paul Warne obviously knows what he's doing. I mean, I don't. It's easy for me to say that's strange. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. But at the same time, Paul Warne's got us promoted. He knows what he's doing in League One, never finished lower than 7th, and in other campaigns, in all his other campaigns, he got promoted. So I'm not here to disagree with Paul Warne when he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting times, but good times as well. So nice to see smiles back on people's faces.
Yeah, so I think that's been a good video, over an hour covered of the different players.
I completely agree. I was about to say the same thing. Yeah, is there anything else? Is there anything else you're thinking?
On average, that means we would have done sort of just under 10 minutes for each player. So
Yeah. And you know what? I think the players are worth it as well.
yeah, in fact, no, it's not 10 minutes. About just under. But anyways, yeah, I think we've covered everything we've needed to cover. So.
Yeah, I completely agree. I was literally thinking the same thing as well. I think that's everything then. Anything else before we wrap up?
No.
All right, well, I think that wraps it up. As always, guys, thanks for watching. It's incredibly appreciated. Myself and Harry really appreciate it. Harry, am I right in saying you're going to come up with some more videos of your own soon in the coming future?
Yeah, I'm gonna try and get my channel up and going again. Share it with a lot of you guys watching, and then hopefully I'll be in more of Jevon's videos. I'm gonna try and give him some more ideas, and once the season picks up again, then yeah, hopefully I'll be able to come up with a lot more ideas.
Yeah. Well, look, if you like what you've seen from Harry, give him a follow, give him a subscription. These videos wouldn't be the same as they have been the last couple of weeks without this man's input. So, big thank you for Harry for joining. It's really appreciated. And guys, thanks for watching. Let us know your thoughts. Have the Dons played it right? Have we released who we should have released? Have we given the right contracts to the right people? Should we get rid of any more players? Do we look to sign some more players? Let us know your thoughts. And thanks again for watching. I'll hopefully be back next week. Got some ideas up my sleeve that I want to talk about, such as the current players on the contracts. Would we all see them as first team starters? Should we sell some? Should we get some more in? And also look on to next season as well. So please do, if you like what you've seen, please keep yourself tuned in for some more content. I think that wraps it up from us too. Thanks again for watching. Thanks so much for those who have subscribed recently as well. I know, like I said in my last video, it's over 50 subscribers. And if you do like what you've seen, please make sure to share, subscribe, and stay tuned in for the next video. So, for myself and Harry, thanks so much.
Thank
and as
you.
always, up the Dons! Yes, you can see Harry's got the latest kit. All right, is that everything?
Yeah, I think, is it still recording?
Yeah, still recording, but I'm gonna stop that now. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you very soon. Yeah, you can see Harry's kit's the latest kit, as I say. My kit's 2 years old. His kit is the latest one. For the record, I have got the goalkeeper top, the mint green one. I've got the very last one, but I haven't worn it yet.
Yeah. Okay. Once again, thank you.
Thanks for joining, and we'll see you both. We'll see you all very soon. Look out for us both. I'll stop the recording now.